Hello everybody, welcome here. Today we're discussing the top fragrance releases from this past week. This is a series I do here on this channel every single Monday where we sit back and we discuss whether or not certain releases are more desirable than others, and it's just a fun time here on this channel every single Monday. If you're new here, hello, my name is Anya. I also do videos on Wednesdays and Fridays along with a ton of bonus content in between. So there's a lot to cover this week and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on a lot of these releases. There are some limited edition launches and a few new collections from designer brands. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, a new release by Mugler. This is marketed towards men. This is called A Men Fantasm. This is an eau de parfum and it's supposed to be a bold and powerfully masculine composition that provides a daring experience for the wearer. This is a quote from their marketing, but it's supposed to start off with a blend of citruses, like a blast of citruses, and then you have their dark chocolate note and then a bit of sage as well. So if we go through the notes in their entirety, we have top notes of pink pepper, bergamot, and citrus, a mid of dark chocolate and sage, and then a base of patchouli. This to me is a little bit nerve-wracking because I don't know if you know this, but I have a certain kind of relationship with Mugler when it comes to their interpretation of chocolate and patchouli. I'm talking specifically about their Angel line. It took me a long time to like Angel. I don't even know if I like it right now. I can appreciate it, but I don't own it in my collection. I don't own a decant. I much prefer the Alien line, and even so, I think my favorite is still the original Alien. Yes, it's been reformulated most likely, but that is the DNA I like from this designer house. This is something I'm interested in smelling. I don't know if I'd like it. And I specifically don't know how I feel about this being a fragrance for men. I don't know if I would love that patchouli chocolate combination on a man, but I am nevertheless very interested in smelling this one. I feel like this will be an interesting perfume to say the least. I don't know if it will be more in keeping with what they've been doing recently, which is, in my opinion, trying to appeal to the mass market. I feel like Mugler in recent years has been playing it very safe. They're trying to release fragrances that they think everyone will like, and it ends up being a little bit redundant. So I'm wondering if this will be a product of that. And in that case, it might be a more palatable experience. Who knows? I'm not saying that just because a fragrance is unique makes it unpalatable, but I would say in this case, if we're talking about this kind of patchouli and this kind of dark chocolate, I'm still curious about smelling this fragrance, so this is a tentative pass for me, but we'll see how it goes. Speaking of dark and bold fragrances, we have another leather release from Chopard. This is supposed to be a unisex fragrance, and this is called Leather Malaki. Malaki, I don't know how to pronounce this one, but this is supposed to be a woody, spicy fragrance with top notes of bergamot, black pepper, a mid of Alaskan cedar, and then a base of leathery mineral accord and smoky notes. Not gonna lie, that mineral accord really piques my interest here. I, in the past year, have become very curious about mineral scents. Previously, this has not been a scent profile I have gravitated in any way towards, but with a few new fragrances that I have added to my collection, with a few new scents I've smelled, I've gotten very interested in that kind of scent profile. So this is something I am very keen on trying. This is supposed to be a smoky fragrance. It's supposed to be a leathery fragrance. So part of me is thinking, is this going to be a skanky accord? Is this going to be too much? So I am hesitant about this one as well, but I really like leathery fragrances, so I'm keen on trying it out. This is a new release from the Brazilian brand Boticario. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but this is a collection of two fragrances, Sweet Melly and Fresh Melly. Egoy Sweet Melly and Egoy Fresh Melly. I do not speak Portuguese, so if I'm mispronouncing this, I do apologize. But essentially, this came about because they reached out to their TikTok audience asking what they wanted to see, and people were saying that they wanted to see some watermelon fragrances. and so they came out with this collection. It seems very interesting, so let's get into the notes. Sweet Melly is supposed to be a delicious combination of vanilla and sandalwood combined with aquatic floral notes. So we have top notes of bergamot, watermelon, and pear, a mid of white peach, tiare flower, and gardenia, and then a base of vanilla, sandalwood, and amber. This sounds absolutely divine. It's supposed to be a fun and playful take on these notes. It's supposed to be sweet. It's supposed to really focus on that gourmand aspect. But moving on to the next fragrance, we have a fresher take on the melon note with Fresh Melly. So this is supposed to have top notes of watermelon, peach, cantaloupe melon, a base or a mid of rose, white flowers, and basil, and then a base of praline and cedar. If I had to choose between the two, I'd absolutely choose the latter fragrance. I feel like the first one sounds delicious, but it would be a little bit too sweet for my taste. The second one, however, with that balance of basil, the melon juxtaposed with that watermelon and sweeter notes, I feel like this would be a perfect, refreshing scent. I don't know about the availability of this fragrance line. I don't know if they're readily available in the United States, but if they are available in the United States, this is absolutely a fragrance line that I'd be interested in trying, particularly the second fragrance that I just mentioned. It sounds amazing, and there are not a lot of fragrances out there that really spotlight either the notes of watermelon or melon. So I feel like this is a really cool launch. Let me know what you think. Next, we have a launch by Fendi. Now, this is a launch that I definitely feel a little bit torn about. Some parts of this I'm really excited about, some parts of it I'm feeling a little bit about. So let's get into it. So this is a launch from Fendi, and we're talking about 7 new scents to their collection. Now, previously, I don't believe they've had a permanent fragrance line, so this is a first for them, and all of these fragrances are inspired by different aspects of the Fendi house. The family, it's a family-owned brand, so it's very personal to them. They have 3 noses, 3 very renowned noses that they're using to craft these scents. All in all, there are some fragrances in this line that seem really interesting and really cool. However, they are being very streamlined in their approach of showcasing the fragrances. They're not showcasing a lot of the notes. They have like 3 or 5 notes for each one of these fragrances that they've released. So they're not being very detailed about what these fragrances are actually smelling like. So that's one thing. The second thing is the sheer volume of this release. This is an overwhelming release. 7 fragrances is a lot. I feel like 3 would have been fine, and then kind of pace it out as you kind of like test the waters and see like what your consumer wants. 7 is overwhelming. I mean, you can tell by the fact that I don't even want to go into each of these 7 fragrances because I feel like I'm going to lose you. Literally, I feel like you as a viewer will get bored by me talking about each of these 7 fragrances because there is a story associated with each one of these fragrances. They're not just releasing these perfumes. Each of these fragrances has an inspiration, has a clear theme, has a scent profile. It's very detailed, and it's clear that they've gone into a lot of meticulous thought when it comes to this. But it's 7 fragrances, so that's a lot. The other thing that's making me hesitate about this is the price point. They are charging for 300 to 400 euros for this. That is a lot of money to be paying for a fragrance, especially from a designer house that's relatively new to the fragrance space. Yes, they've released fragrances before, but never a line like this. This is new to them. We're not really familiar with them as a fragrance house just yet. We know Fendi primarily as an accessories brand, an accessories and a clothing brand. So they're releasing these fragrances and they're pricing them at a really high price point. It's clear that they're trying to cater towards their existing clientele, towards their existing customers, because I don't think they're necessarily trying to cater towards fragrance lovers as a whole, because number one, they're not being very detailed about the scent profiles. They're just releasing the hero notes, and also the price point, and also the volume. They're releasing way too many. So it's just a few different things that I'm not too keen on when it comes to this. I don't think it's a great launch. I think these fragrances might smell amazing, but they're just, it's not something that I'm excited about because, quite frankly, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Next up, a limited edition release from Born to Stand Out for Pride Month. This is called Dirty Rainbow. If you're not familiar with Born to Stand Out, they are a brand that releases a lot of different fragrances that are inspired by various things. So they have like Dirty Rice, I believe, Dirty Honey, and now they're releasing Dirty Rainbow. So this is a fragrance that's inspired by Pride Month, and the notes reflect that. So they have notes of orange blossom, lavender, saffron, violet, peach, and ivy. This is a very limited edition release. They have a finite amount of bottles here, and from what I can tell based off of what I've seen online from people covering this, this is a very saffron heavy fragrance with a bit of like a powdery undertone. This sounds absolutely amazing, but since this is a limited edition release, I don't see the point in me trying this because I don't think there's anything I'd be able to contribute to the conversation about this, especially since it's limited edition. So this is not something I'll be getting, but it does sound interesting. Next up is a new fragrance by JUS Parfums. This is supposed to be an icy fougere fragrance, literally called Icy Fizz, and this looks super, super interesting. So you have notes of geranium, green notes, chestnutty accords, herbs. There's a lot going on here. I feel like this would be a perfect, refreshing scent for the summertime. The bottle also looks really interesting. I am not super familiar with JUS Parfums, but so far what I've tried from them, I really, really like. They do a great job of playing between really dark and powerful scents and light and refreshing scents that still last a really long time. So I don't own any full bottles from them, but I have their discovery set. I've tried their line, and I really do like what I have seen from the brand so far. This fragrance also will have notes of ambroxan, which, if you don't know me, let me tell you, I love ambroxan in perfumes. I feel like it can really add to that sillage, and it can make a fragrance even better. So this is something I'm super looking forward to. I'm really excited about this one. This is by JUS Parfums. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about them here in the US, but they really do have some beautiful, beautiful fragrances, and I'm excited about this one. All right, that's it for this week. Those are all the fragrances I wanted to cover for today. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. If you missed last week's new fragrance releases smash or pass video, check back on my playlist. I have listed all the fragrance videos in this series in a playlist for you to binge watch if you are so inclined. But once again, thank you so much for watching till the end. Let me know what you think of these new makeup or new fragrance releases. Goodness, let me know what you think of these fragrance releases.